time for a new Severance video. Very, very far ahead of the next episode. I pat myself on the back for that one. This is season 2, episode 7. I'm not attached to the show in any way. I'm not getting paid for this, even though I wish I was. We're going off of my notes, and it's my observations and descriptions of how I saw things and questions maybe, and I'll probably make additional commentary. So here we go. I hate this episode not because it wasn't good, it was, but because Gemma got done so dirty. Also, Mark looks a hell of a lot better. It's the haircut, it's his body language probably played, because he kind of walks kind of slumped as we know him to be, but he was like, with his back straight and walking tall before all the nonsense happened. And the facial hair. I'm sorry. He's one of those guys who looks really attractive with facial hair, but without it, bruh, don't ever do it again. But he's an actor, so he has to do what they tell him to do with his facial hair and the hair on his head. I get it. It's just unfortunate that there's been so many parts where he's had to be clean shaven. It looks terrible on him. Anywho, in the beginning, one or both of them appear to be donating blood while hooked up to a Lumen branded machine. And in the next scene, Gemma's blood is taken while on the testing room floor, where the nurse asks her, "Where did you go?" Because Gemma was spacing off. Gemma and Mark were happy at the start of the relationship and quite cute. But it looks like the stress of trying to have a baby and the loss of at least one wore them both down, and it was creating a wedge where he was like, it looked like he was less attentive and just kind of distracted. It's clear that Devin was not handling the stress and emergency of Mark passing out very well, which is par, given how she reacted earlier when she realized she handed Eleanor to Harmony and found out that she was Mark's boss in the last episode of the previous season. So she was just all out panicking. Gemma's reaction to seeing what outfit was picked out might have been an indicator that she was going to the dentist at Wellington, that she knew she was going to Wellington, which she associates with dental pain, since she retains no memories from being in that room other than that. It's pretty clear that the dentist was the same whistling guy who picked up equipment from O&D 2 episodes earlier. And that dude is super creepy. It's so creepy. I loved how Gemma told Devin that she was pregnant without actually telling her. It's possible that Mark missed how strong their connection was, given that when Devin wanted to confirm what his any meant at the end of the first season, which made the most sense, he focused, wait a minute. Yeah, he focused on his own pain with Gemma's death while comparing and downplaying Devin's pain. Just because you went through a whole lot, you went through a whole lot more and you were closer to her, doesn't negate the fact that Devin loved Gemma too. Sorry. It looks like the people in the dark room may have been doing the same or similar work to the crew, and that none can perceive that the scary numbers are from video or images of torture. Cold Harbor might mean that Mark is emotionally breaking away from Gemma and is seeing her as less and less a person, and therefore her pain as meaningless, in the way that Lumen bots don't consider the emotions of innies, i.e. Milchick, Miss Wang. The Delulu is strong with a creepy mustache whistle Dr. Mauer. To Drummond, his claiming that Gemma is fond of him is just sigh. Is when the two of them were in the dark room with the four people at the terminals, he was claiming that Gemma was fond of him. And what? And nothing we were shown indicated in any way that she likes you at all. And it's highly doubtful. But woo, in case you didn't catch it, he's a doctor at the clinic. The Butzmann Fertility Center where Mark and Gemma went. He walks past them for a split second as they enter the waiting area. And I suspect that he was the counselor that Mark stopped seeing, as mentioned by Devin early in the first season. Curiously, on the paperwork Gemma fills out in the upper left-hand corner, there's a Lumen logo. So yeah, he was there. You have to catch it real quick. He was there, and he walked right past them, and you can clearly see his face and stuff. You just kind of might have to pause it to make sure it's him, but yeah. Regabi confirmed to Devin my suspicions that Harmony was raised Lumen, but I was so disappointed with Devin. She didn't know how to deal with Mark's condition, yet wanted to control a situation she didn't fully understand and play it both ways. Call Harmony, who has proven herself sneaky and utterly untrustworthy, and have Regabi stay on board, who, from all appearances, has been trying to help. Regabi wants no parts because, at the very least, she knows far more about how Lumen operates, and getting caught by any of them is not worth the risk to her. Instead of Devin asking her why she is so afraid of them, she loses out on the one person who might actually be able to get them all detached from that company, at least temporarily. So I think at some point they're going to cross paths again. But yeah, what Regabi was doing was experimental, but she knows more about the company and how the chip works and all that stuff. And you want to call Harmony? No. That doesn't even sound like a good idea in the slightest. And speaking of, when Mark met Regabi, she said that she's the only one who can remove the chip. I think she hasn't because she needs information, and Mark wouldn't be able to get it if the chip was removed. In part because his innie knows things that he doesn't, and removing the chip would cut off access to the memories needed. It's very possible that Lumen is recording memories of the severed, including when they are in Audi, and revisited memories, like memories from their normal life before being severed. That might also explain why there are things in his and Gemma's personal life that just so happen to show up in odd ways at Lumen. Then again, they could have electronic products that record and snoop into the lives of the average consumer. And my example of things from their life showing up at Lumen was the song called I'll Be Seeing You. It was playing in a room Gemma was in when she was with the doctor. It was in what can be assumed to be Mark's head when he was in the scene where, in the last season, when he was taping her picture back together after his little fit. And it's playing when Mark is fighting with building the baby crib, or I think maybe it was like he was somewhat giving up and trying to build it at the same time, if that makes any sense. It's playing when they were lounging on the couch at Christmas, and I'm fairly certain there was like a version of the song that was playing at Pips at some point in the series too. The way that Mauer, when playing pretend husband, treated Gemma when she was in the Christmas house code and doing thank you letters and have the big old stack of green thank you letters. he expected her to say, "I love you" back when even she knew he was lying. It just made my blood boil because you're making her do all these by herself. You could have been helping. And apparently she was doing it for a long time because her hand, like, I can read chicken scratch. I couldn't read what she was, most of what she was writing. And her hand was hurting when she left. And so he was expecting that was very, very much something you would see in an abusive relationship. I'm glad Gemma didn't believe Maurer when he said that Mark remarried and had a daughter. Then it's pretty clear that his crusty is crushing on her, because when he suggests that a severed version of her moved on in one of the other rooms, when it appears that he's the only person in the other rooms. And of course, when he was talking to Drummond and he said he liked her, and Drummond reminded him that she tried to break his hands. More and more, I swear, Lumonites have no idea. That's what I'm going to call them from now on, I think. I just came up with that out of the blue. Lumonites have no idea how emotions work at all, but they're trying to break them down to a science. It's like when people don't know basic biology and insist that babies and pee come out of the same hole. Then he dribbles on, suggesting that she's loved someone, probably himself, deeper than she did Mark, which is highly unlikely aside from the creep factor. Is I don't think he wasn't just saying these things to throw her off and to have her move on from Mark. I think he is so deluded that he's seeing stuff that's not really there, and hoping that she loves him in some way. And I'm just like, no, absolutely not. I do love her gumption, however, when she shows him the swinging chair game and he immediately loses. Unfortunately, just as soon, I knew she was not going to escape. Goodness me, I so badly wanted her to escape, but even aside from knowing of only one exit from the floor, which leads to the main severed floor where she is also severed, security would have to be much higher for her than all other known characters, because her escaping would be concrete proof to the public that Lumen is downright evil. Her situation is the absolute most depressing so far, because even though there's a sense of the inability for the crew to escape, it's far, that whole concept is far worse for her, it feels like. And then on top of that, it looks like the only people that she interacts with is Dr. Maurer and the nurse. So there's no one to bounce ideas off of. So her situation feels more hopeless than theirs. The very last line of the very last scene is Devin asking Mark the same exact question that the nurse asked Devin in their first scene together. Excuse me. So I am left to wonder if he is his innie, his outie, or a balanced combination. And it was because he was, when he woke up, he was sort of stunned. But I found it odd that Devin asked him the same exact question that the nurse asked Gemma. So we'll have to see, right? And the next episode, the caption for it that I saw basically alluded to, we're gonna get to dig a little bit deeper and see some stuff that we haven't seen before.